On a scale from 1 to 5, 6.
What's up? What it is, what it do? It's your boy Alan C, and the place to be this fine Friday. Get ready to kick off week 2 of the NFL season. I thank you guys so much for joining, for being in. First things first, man. Like I said, my name is Alan C. If this is your first time listening, welcome. I appreciate you guys for coming in. As I do, shout out my Sideline Talk family. Herb, Tay, John, what up? All right, let's go ahead and get into the start of week 2, which was kicked off last night. The Packers beat the Commanders 27-18, and early returns are in on Micah Parsons. Jerry Jones looked like he's screwed up. I thought it when the trade happened, so this is not nothing new. But the way the Packers have been playing, it is confirmed. I believe that defense is the real deal. And Micah Parsons just added a whole swag to the team where they believe that they can really do this thing. I thought, they believed that they were contenders. So they went out and they went all in on paying for Micah Parsons and trading for him. And early dividends look good. Like I said, there's just confidence brewing throughout the whole defense. I mean, there's just certain times where you don't even see the corner start to backpedal to a certain point because they know that the quarterback's clock is sped up, having Micah and Rasheem Gary blitzing off the edge, flying off the edge with the get-offs that they get off. The Packers look really good. So as far as yesterday's game, Jordan Love, I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. I know it's early. It's only week 2. It's only been 2 games. But I said the same thing about Josh Allen last year. Jordan Love has officially entered the MVP conversations. If the Packers continue to do what they do and he continue to play how he played, Jordan Love has officially entered into the MVP conversation. He went 19 for 31 with 292 yards and 2 touchdowns last night. Josh Jacobs added in another touchdown, and he ran for 84 yards. Tucker Kraft had 6 catches, 124 yards, and 1 touchdown as well. The offense has been clicking early dividends from them look really good despite having a very young team. So having young receivers, now it looks like Jaden Reed broke his collarbone and he's going to be out for the season. If not for the season, for a very long time. He's going on IR. So prayers to Jaden Reed. Hopefully he can come back from that issue. But on the other side of the ball, Jaden Daniels threw for 200 yards on 24 for 42 passing. He added in 2 touchdowns. One of those went to Zach Ertz for 64 yards. And one of them Zach Ertz had 64 yards on the game. Debo had 44 yards on the game and added in one of those touchdowns as well. The Packers had 4 sacks yesterday. So, again, pass rush is paying dividends early. They're getting to the quarterbacks. They're making quarterbacks uncomfortable. They have yet to give up 250 yards in a game all season. And we're playing against 2 NFC teams that were in the playoffs, the 2 NFC teams that were picked to be contenders this year. 2 NFC teams that are picked to be in the playoffs and do a deep push this year. So, like I said, early dividends are paying off for this Green Bay trade and this Green Bay team. And like I said, they look young, they look vibrant, they look it's the word I'm looking for. They've got that confidence, that swag that they can go ahead and win this chip. Definitely win the NFC, represent the NFC in the championship, Super Bowl. I want to see if somehow, some way, and shouts to them for not even letting it become a possibility thus far this season. I want to see what happens if someone can actually punch them in the mouth. As far as they not get out to the start that they want. Jordan Love actually starts pressing again and starts throwing interceptions. So far, he hasn't thrown an interception yet for this team. So, or on this season. So he, like I said, he's in the MVP conversations thus far. And just strictly by managing the game, how I thought Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts would actually win the MVP by not pressing and just actually managing the game and lifting his team. That's exactly what I'm saying out of Jordan Love these first 2 weeks. As he's lifting the team, he's playing very complimentary football as far as passing everything out, distributing like a point guard from the pocket. He'll even, run down the field and throw a shoulder into somebody, as we've seen last night. Not great for your quarterback to be throwing shoulders because he might need that to throw the ball, but he's running people over. So shout, Jordan Love. And this Packers defense, man. But it's not all bad for the Commanders, even though some of it is bad. They lost Austin Eckler to an Achilles injury, and Dietrich Wise apparently is out for the season as well with a knee injury. Again, if they're not out, they are definitely not playing for some time. I will get verification on that and have that for y'all next week. But like I said, it looks like those two guys that they had big plans for in the team will be out for some time, if not the full season. So that got a sting right there. Like I said, the Packers gave up less than 250 yards. JD accounted for 200 of them and 2 touchdowns. So it's not necessarily JD's fault that, Commanders haven't. So I don't believe there's a sophomore slump happening here with the Commanders. They started off against the Giants and the defense looked really good, but we'll see how the Giants offense looks against the Cowboys defense, down Deron Bland, and, their best pass rusher is now the Packer. So we'll see how the Giants look. It could have just been, that defense playing against the Giants offense, and the Giants offense might not have that much juice, but we'll see what the defense and this season holds for that Washington Commanders defense. That's all we have on that one. So last week, I told you Kansas City was kicking off the season in Brazil against the Chargers. That game didn't go too well for them. And it was supposed to be their rebound game. They lost Xavier Worthy quick in the game, and they went 3 and out. And their offense never quite got right. I'm quite sure Xavier Worthy was a big part of their offense as far as their planning for the offense. So with that not really going right and him going down early in that game, it looks like they were forced to do a little shifting. He's out indefinitely. They're going to try to get him back, but with that shoulder being dislocated, it could easily pop out in knee surgery. So they're trying to be cautious to make sure that shoulder is sturdy, so he may or may not play. I'm going to bet with the not, he's not going to play this game. And coming into this week, them knowing that, them not really game planning for him to play, I could see their offense doing a lot more, being a lot more prepared for him not playing, as you're going to the game and 3 and out, and your number one receiver is on the ground. Well, your number one receiver is actually suspended, and then your number 2 receiver is on the ground and out for the rest of the game. So I do believe that they work with Hollywood and they work with Juju Smith-Schuster on passing the ball and being receivers. So, they're coming into the game with a high expectation that Hollywood Brown could step up, that Juju could step up. Kelsey is Kelsey. He may need Noah Gray to step up because the focus is going to go to Kelsey and dare the other two to beat you. Now, there's somebody that I trust in Kansas City to get it done without weapons is Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes. I mean, they won a Super Bowl, and not saying anything about these guys, but Juju Smith-Schuster and Kadarius Toney was the top 2 wide receivers that year with Kelsey. So I believe they definitely can go ahead and get this dub against the Eagles. If it's a lot easier for them to plan for it. But they have lost to the Eagles the last 2 times they played them. One was a couple seasons ago where they actually did win where the Chiefs did win the Super Bowl and the Eagles flamed out early in the first round of the playoffs. And then, of course, last year matchup where they, for lack of a better term, destroyed the Chiefs. And that game was pretty much over in the first quarter, first half. But Pat has never lost 3 games in a row in his career, and he has the best record in the NFL, the entire NFL, for quarterback coming off of a loss. I believe he's going to test that Eagles secondary that was getting tested and torched by Dak Prescott on week 1. Now they've had over a week to get that locked up and solidified, and to work on the corner opposite of Quinyon Marshall. They was named Quinyon Marshall. Mitchell? Whatever. Opposite Quinyon and Cooper. So the receiver that's not on them, whatever corner is playing that guy, should be better. Avonte Maddox was getting used and abused in that game against the Cowboys. I expect to see him have a bounce back game this game. But I do believe they can be tested in the passing game, and Pat is going to look at that film and see where he can dissect them from. That's the goal. And again, everybody has a plan until they get hit in the mouth. So we'll see what their plan is if they get hit in the mouth, because Jalen Carter, pending spending on Patrick Mahomes, should be playing this game. And you won't, stranger things have happened, but I don't believe that this man is going to spit again and spit on Patrick Mahomes. So, let's just see if Pat can have the time back there. Now you got Jalen Carter going up against arguably the best center in the game, and Creed Humphrey. So that should be a matchup to look at. All in all, again, I'll talk about my picks later for this week, but Kansas City is definitely looking for the rebound, and see if they can actually do it this week. Also this weekend, coming up tonight and tomorrow, we got top 25 teams playing some college football. So the top 25 is as follows. Number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Penn State. Number 3, LSU. Number 4, Oregon. Number 5, Miami has a test at 4:30 against number 18, South Florida. So that game is coming on at 4:30 Eastern time. Check your local listeners. Number 6, Georgia is placing Lord. They're facing number 15, Tennessee. That game should be a lot of running, a lot of defense. We're going to see that one. That's happening at 3:30. Number 7, Arch Manning and Texas. Number 8, Notre Dame is going up against number 16, Texas A&M. Number 9, Illinois. Number 10, Florida State is actually on the bye this week. Number 11, South Carolina. I want to see what Lenore Sellers does. Number 12, Clemson. Shout out to Cade Klubnik. Number 13, Oklahoma. Number 14, Iowa State. Number 17 is Ole Miss. Number 19 is Alabama. Number 20 is Utah. 21 is Texas Tech. Number 22, Indiana. That game is about to kick off in about an hour. I believe they're playing Indiana State, if I'm not mistaken. And then number 23, Michigan. 24, Auburn. And rounding out the top 25 is Missouri. Also not in the top 25, but it's been interesting. And I'm from Baltimore, so shout out to Malik Cunningham. I'm definitely looking forward to watching Maryland play this week against Towson. Should be a fairly simplistic game and a game where Malik can showcase his abilities. But yet still, I want to see Malik go off. AWF go off against Towson. He's been my favorite quarterback to watch thus far this year, and he's only a true freshman. So, no, I don't expect him to go perfect. No, I don't expect him to play perfect. But he's been so exciting to watch. All right. All right, so week 2. Let me go ahead and get these predictions out the way. Pick some games. So Cincinnati is going up against Jacksonville. I got Cincinnati in that one. I do think Trevor Lawrence played well against Carolina, but again, that was Carolina. If he does well against the Cincinnati defense, which is a considerable step up from Carolina and that team, then that I could see Trev is actually doing what I thought he was going to do with Liam Cohen as his coach. But I still have Cincinnati winning this game unless Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker is coming off that edge and putting big pressure on Joe Burrow. Unless they can come off that edge and put a lot of pressure on Joe Burrow to where he's off and uncomfortable all night, I can see Cincinnati winning this. Travis Hunter should get more defensive snaps, and he's going up against, one of the best wide receiver tandems in Chase and T. Higgins. So it's going to be a good test for him as far as playing corner. So I have Cincinnati winning that game, but Jacksonville could try to put up a fight. I believe they can put up a fight with this team. Next, in the 1 o'clock window, we got Dallas versus the Giants. I spoke about it earlier when I was talking about Washington. Giants offense did not look good at all against the Commanders. Some of it is the Commanders defense, and some of it, and the blame and credit has to go to Russell Wilson and just leading this offense. I believe Malik Neighbors can go off. The Cowboys are down DeRon Bland. So I believe Malik Neighbors can go off because Trayvon Diggs is still coming back from injury, and he's not one of those guys that's like a straight shutdown. He can give up big plays. But I have Dallas winning this game. Too much Dak against that defense. I see Dallas and CeeDee Lamb bouncing back and winning this game. For Detroit versus Chicago, I have Detroit winning it. But Detroit's on upset alert. They did not look good against Green Bay. We know now after last night, Green Bay's defense is legit, but Chicago should have won that game against Minnesota. And Caleb Williams looks good for the first. He looked good for the first 3 quarters underneath Detroit's former offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson. Jared Goff did not look good away from Ben Johnson. But I believe Detroit will win this game, but I'm putting them on upside alert because Chicago looked really good Monday night and just could not finish. New England versus Miami. Looks like Gonzo is going to be out again, but I got New England winning this one. Miami is already going to the players-only meetings, which means something internally is not clicking for them. That's not X and O's. That is, I don't like this guy's dragging on the team, etc. That's normally what that is. That's not an X and O meeting. Our coach would be there. Why would you have an X and O meeting with our coach? So, I have New England winning that game. Not Mac Jones, Lord, what is that man's name? Drake May, excuse me, is going to lead this team to their first victory of the year. San Francisco versus New Orleans. Now, San Francisco comes into this game without Brock Purdy, without George Kittle. So Mac Jones will get the start for San Francisco, and I think Mac Jones has enough to beat New Orleans Saints, one of the worst teams in the league. So I'm going with San Francisco on that one. Another team that I'm putting on upset alert, and again, it's just an alert. I'm not saying that they will lose. I'm not saying it's even going to be close, but they're on alert if they are not careful, and that's Buffalo versus the Jets. I have Buffalo winning this game, unless Josh Allen pulls off another Super Saiyan type performance with late game heroics, which again I would have to put him in with Jalen Hurts and with Jordan Love as our MVP candidate. The Jets have a good defense, and Sauce Gardner, although they didn't show it against the Steelers, Sauce Gardner could play Khalil Shakir. He could play Keon Coleman and play both of them tough. So I got Buffalo winning it, but the Jets keep it close. And if they're able to run with Breece Hall the way Derrick Henry was able to run over that defense, and that defense looks like it's lacking a lot of speed, and that's one thing you don't want to lack when you're going up against Justin Fields, because he can take off, and that's kind of his default at this moment because he's not really gifted as a passer just yet. He can pass, but he's not as gifted as a passer just yet. He could take off, and their corners kind of questionable. Gary Wilson could go off. So I want to see if Buffalo still has that same fire, or was that just Baltimore letting Buffalo back in the game? Not good on either side, but if Buffalo not careful, they can definitely lose that game. I had Pittsburgh taking on winning over Seattle. That's not much to talk about on that game. I don't think they put up as many points and play as expired as Aaron did against his former team, but DK might. So Rams versus Tennessee. I got the Rams. Not quite sure if Tennessee is ready to take a few steps forward, but I did like Cam Ward, and I'm pretty content in Cam Ward being offensive rookie of the year. I did like him against one of a very tough Denver Broncos defense. But I got the Rams. Too much pass rush for the kid with Jared Verse and Fisk. And like I said, watch out for Kobe Durant. All right, so in the 4 o'clock window, I got Arizona versus Carolina. Not much to say on that game. It's pretty much sleeper. Denver versus Indiana. Or Indianapolis, excuse me. I have Denver winning, but Indianapolis could put them on upset alert. And I have Philly over Kansas City. I've already talked about that game. Sunday Night Football, Atlanta versus Minnesota. I got Atlanta winning this. That is my upset pick of the week. I got Atlanta over Minnesota. They're slightly underdogs in this, but I will go with Atlanta straight out. Monday Night Football, we got 2 games. Baker Mayfield versus CJ Stroud. I'm going with Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Don't know what's going on with Houston's offense, but I don't think they could score enough points to stick with Tampa Bay. So I'm going with Tampa Bay in this one. Chargers versus the Raiders. Yeah. Chargers by far. All right, and then the home team, Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens are at home. They open up their 30th season in the league at home week 2. So it's the very first home game is what I meant. Ravens are pissed. Ravens are embarrassed. The Ravens are at home. The Ravens are focused. The Ravens spread is at 12. I don't know if they can cover that, but I don't see how Cleveland wins this game. They've been yapping. They've been talking. It's not challenged for the secondary. It's not hard to tackle Derrick Henry. All right, you get to put that on display this week. Shout out to Joe Flacco. Still has a lot of the franchise records. His name will be up in that building. I know that's a very controversial take to a lot of people around the league. Where Joe Flacco's name will be hung in the Ring of Honor when Joe Flacco decides to hang up his jersey, wherever that may be. He probably signed a one day in Baltimore, and we put his name up in that Ring of Honor in the next 2-3 years. I don't think the Browns believe they got a shot. That's why they're talking. They played the Bengals very well, but they still only scored, 16 points? And Joe Flacco was slinging that ball all over the field. Both of his interceptions bounced off his receivers. I have a write-up coming out in about an hour about this game. Go to ubuggin.substack.com for further breakdown of it. But I don't see the Browns staying in this game unless the Ravens give them that glimmer of hope that they need. But this should be put away. And all across one winning drive, the Ravens were talking about finishing games. All week they were embarrassed by that. First off, by how Buffalo drove down at the half and got the field goal. And then they were embarrassed by that fourth quarter of letting up 15 points. And you're supposed to be one of the best secondaries. So they are coming in, they're focused. It reminds me of the Dream Team when they got embarrassed by those college kids. So that Chuck Daly can show them that if you don't take this serious, y'all can be beat. I believe they saw that against Buffalo. And it's like, yeah, if we don't tighten this up, we're supposed to have the best secondary, but we're at 32 right now. We're at the very worst. We're at the very bottom. Our offense was number one for 40 points. Then they went to number two really quickly. We're giving up 41. So it's just a lot of pride into this game. And again, it's against a division rival. They don't want to go down 0-2 for the second year in a row. And last year when they were down 0-2, it wasn't in the division. They didn't go down 0-2 and lose a division game in the midst. So believe they're focused. They know what they got to do against Cleveland. Don't see how this game is close. But X Factors, it looks like Nnamdi is going to play. He wasn't on the injury report for for today, and he practiced Thursday. Looked like he was a full participant today, so he's going to play. I see him having a huge day pushing the pocket from the middle. Joe Flacco is not one of those quarterbacks that like to run around, so him having a huge day pushing the pocket from the middle, it just helps Joe Flacco, or it pushes Joe Flacco to an uncomfortable spot where he got to move and run and then try to set again to throw. So it gets Joe Flacco off base. And I see him trying to stop the run and being a big part of that. Him, Travis Jones, John Jenkins, the interior rush that we have. I can see them getting involved to stopping the run and getting to Joe early so that we earn the right to rush the passer with the pass rushers coming in. Justice Hill didn't get too involved in the game because Henry was going off. So we didn't really cool Henry off and say, no, Justice, you get this. Because every time we were giving it to Henry was getting 6, 7, 8 yards a pop or breaking it for 50 yards. So it was not much for Justice Hill to get involved with Henry having the type of day. I see Justice Hill getting involved because their focus is on Henry and stopping Henry. And they have a very good defense over there. Let's forget the records. They have a very good defense over there. And I believe they can stop the run. And they're going to sell out to stop Derrick Henry. So Justice Hill and, just using him in the screen game kind of stops their pass rush and their momentum of what they want to do. So, quick passes to him, quick passes to Zay, quick passes to Bate, just constantly getting the ball out your hands quick. It kind of slows down their pass rush because now they getting the ball just going right past their head. So those are my X factors for the day or for this game. I will see y'all afterwards to break down a very exclusive bonus episode of U Buggin. So that's going to be my show for this evening, man. I appreciate y'all. Follow U Buggin on Instagram, U Buggin on YouTube, Al_U_Buggin. I'm available on Spreaker. I'm available on Spotify, Deezer, wherever you get your podcast from. Look at your boy, holler at your boy, support, please. I appreciate it. Be blessed, be productive, be more. I love you. I'm out.